there, friends, and thanks for joining me. And today I want to talk to you about passive versus earned income. So recently we've been talking about multiple streams of income. That's just, having multiple ways that we're making money coming in. More recently we talked about, some different ways that income can be brought in or side jobs. This one is going to be more of a passive income kind of focus. So let's just define that term really quickly. So passive income is basically income that we have that's coming in that we're not doing anything actively to earn. So earned income would be like a job. When you are on your job, you're making money, and when you're at home, no money is being made. And you have to constantly be going back to that job every day, for the days of the week that you have that job in order to make that money. And if for some reason you no longer had that job, if they let you go, if you quit, if you get hurt and you can't do that job anymore, that income stream gets completely severed and you can't make that money anymore. So that would be earned income. You're working to earn the income. Passive income is still money that you earn in a way, so to speak. You still earn the money, you just don't have to be working for the money. It's something that you either have no involvement in or you have very small amounts of involvement in, and the money still comes in even when you're not working for the money. So maybe some of you, when you heard the multiple streams of income or the job, side hustle suggestions, you might have thought, well, I don't have time for another job. All this sounds nice to have multiple ways that money comes in, but I don't have time to have another job. My wife, my girlfriend, my husband, my whatever, boyfriend, he doesn't have time for another job either. So I just don't think that that is sustainable for us. So this is for those of you who would like to make some forms of income that you don't have to constantly be actively working for, and yet the money is still coming in. So I do want to point out that most of the ways that we can get passive income are usually somewhat high risk. Unlike a job where we can just kind of punch in, do our job and leave, passive income usually requires us doing something ahead of time. So we do have to still do work for it, but we have to do it ahead. And then it's kind of up to, the fate basically to see how it ends up working out. So as a few suggestions, just to make it to where it makes a little more sense, would be, say, investing in the stock market. So you've put some money in the stock market and now you're not really doing anything with it. It can go up or down, depending on what the stock market is doing, and it can make you some income, or the stock market could crash and we may not make the money that we were hoping to make on it. So it is important to note that this is definitely a little more high risk. However, nothing ventured, nothing gained, as my grandpa used to say. And so it might be worth considering the risks and the benefits of each of these methods and see which one, offers the right benefits for what we're looking for. So a couple other, examples of some ways that we can have some passive income would be like a high interest savings account. I honestly don't think that this is going to be making enough money to be paying any kind of bills, but that is definitely a form of, passive income. Once we have some money that's sitting in a bank account, it does make some money, and so that does count as income. Index funds, that's again similar to the stock market. It's going to make some money, but it's lower risk, but it also has, a little bit less money that we can make from it, but that's another investment choice that we can make that will potentially bring in some passive income. Government bonds is another one. My husband used to have some government bonds, and it would pay out a little bit of money when it made money, and then like everything, when things weren't, as strong, it did make less money. Some other passive sources of income that I'll talk about would be rentals. A lot of times when I say that my husband and I are striving to start a rental business of our own, we always hear, oh yeah, I would love to, have some passive income too, or we would love to start a rental for some passive income. And honestly, I kind of laugh to myself a little bit when I hear this, because rentals are not passive income. You can't just buy a rental and then sit back and collect the rents, because stuff happens, and there's calls that have to be made, and you got to go inspect the damage and just all this stuff. And so it's not always passive. We do have to be doing some things for it. However, I do believe that this can make some fairly decent money, and we can work less than a normal job doing it. So that's why this is going to be our, retirement investment of choice. For us is going to be trying to save up, buy some rentals, and then live on that as our retirement savings or investments. Airbnb, very similar. So if you had like a room in your house or maybe a master bedroom or something like that, you could rent out. Airbnb is a great way to make some money, but again, it is not passive because you'll have to be cleaning in between each, guest who stays there and that sort of thing. So it's definitely less work maybe for the amount of money that you make than say a job, but it is not passive. Blogging and or YouTube. A lot of people think these are passive forms of income as well, and I kind of disagree with that. Although when you put your videos out on YouTube, they can continue to get views that could potentially make you some money. YouTube doesn't pay a whole lot of money, and neither does AdSense and whatnot through blogging. So you do have to keep putting out new content on your blog or whatever in order to continue to make the money. So it's more like a business than a passive form of income when you look at it as a way to make income. So, if you're hoping to join those types of things to make some money, do keep in mind that you will have to be actively continuing to work on that stuff. Same with affiliate marketing or other types of sales. You do have to be constantly putting up new content in order for that to, be out there for people to see. Now here's a real good one, either publishing books, audiobooks, or ebooks. These types of things you can do all of the work up front, say in the slow season or whatever, depending on what kind of a business or job you have. And then you can put it out there and then it truly is a passive, form of income. Or even music. If you have some musical talents, you can publish some, albums or CDs, and then as, they're being bought, you can collect the royalties and the fees from those. So yeah, these are a really good source of truly passive income for those who have that kind of talent, which I wish I did, but who knows? Maybe I could learn someday, that would be great, but no, at the moment I certainly don't, but maybe many of you do. Online courses, same sort of, category as the others. If you have a lot of knowledge in a particular topic, you might be able to put out a course that trains other people how to do the things that you're doing. This is very common. A lot of people put out these sorts of courses, but you do have to be actively continuing to try to get people to sign up for these courses, and so you constantly have to be plugging your content and that sort of thing. So while most of the work is done ahead and then little bits are done later on, it can be a form of, some fairly decent passive income for those who have this kind of talent as well. Building an app. I wish I was that tech savvy, but I am not. But a lot of people have made a lot of money making apps and then putting them out there, either for free, but then attaching ads to them so you can make the ad money, or selling the app. So if you are tech savvy and you have the ability to put together something that the market needs, this would be a great form of passive income. Vending machines, game machines, laundry machines, these sorts of things, you invest in this machine up front, and then as people are continuing to use your machine, you make the passive income. So this is another good way when you have limited amounts of time, or if you want to put together your own schedule. I know of a fair amount of people who have made some pretty good money in the vending machine business. So you could do it on the weekends, restock all your machines, and then have a regular job, that sort of thing. But you do have to have the money up front in order to invest in these types of machines. And again, it's risky because somebody could, vandalize your machine. You never know what'll happen to them. So again, all these forms of passive income are somewhat risky. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. But yeah, any of these types of coin-op machines can definitely be another way to supplement the income. Being a business owner in general, sometimes this can be a good form of passive income to have built a business, hiring the right, personnel, and then being able to step back from this. Frequently, this does happen. Some people will not, step away from their business. They want to keep being, on top of it to make sure that it's continuing to work out. But if you have a business, and it doesn't even matter what the business is, but then you hire a manager and then some people underneath them in order to complete the work, you as the business owner can feasibly step away from that business, and the business could potentially continue without you needing to be there to constantly be babysitting it. Anybody who's watched Shark Tank knows this, that if you're a part owner in a business, other people are going to be doing all the work, and yet you're going to be collecting small portions of the money from the profit. So yeah, if you have that kind of money to invest up front, which frequently you do need, being a business owner and hiring the right managers can really help you make a nice, solid passive income. Other investments, REITs, real estate investments, these can be another good form of passive income. Here is one that's somewhat controversial: cashback rewards on credit cards. I know a lot of people are really anti-credit cards, but for those who can use them responsibly and are going to buy the same amount of stuff whether they're using their credit card or not, can get some fairly decent cashback rewards. I know of some people who, use them for their normal stuff. They'll buy gas, they'll buy their groceries, stuff like that, but then they get all these airline miles to where they can take a vacation for practically free every year, just buying the things that they would normally buy. They're not going to spend more because they're getting these cashback rewards, and they're not going to spend more because they're using the credit card. So this is definitely key. I don't recommend that everyone have a credit card. Personally, I don't like having high limits on them. I think that that is high risk for a lot of people. It's just too much of an opportunity for us to get ourselves into trouble. But for those of us who can use them truly responsibly and are going to spend the same amount of money when they're using the credit card, cashback rewards can be a really nice way to make some extra money. So that's it for you. Again, all of these are fairly high risk, but you do work less and make the money without having to be actively involved in that. So there you go. There is a not very exhaustive list at all, just some quick examples of some passive income streams that if you wanted to make some passive income, you certainly could. And I know that there are a lot of other really good resources out there for some other suggestions on how you could find ways to make some passive income that way too. Then you can have, again, multiple income streams without having to constantly be working for it, which is ultimately the goal for most of us, isn't it? So anyway, thanks for joining me. I'm Frugal Green Girl, and we will see you next time.